Y nos va a estar hablando de runas y de ordinals. Él es artista también y va a estar hablando del mercado de fees, el mercado de fees en Bitcoin. Así que bueno, con eso lo voy a dejar. Con Andrés, ¿hay algo que no dije de vos? ¿Sos pro ordinals o against ordinals? Es usuario, pero está en contra, así que medio raro, pero bueno, de los ordinals. Bueno, vamos a escucharlo y después le podemos hacer preguntas. Yo no conozco mucha gente que use ordinals, así que bueno, acá le podemos preguntar a alguien que sabe del tema.
Hey, 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 la Bitcoin F. Thank you so much. Let's go test this device. Toop, toop, toop. I should have a presentation deck. Boop, 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 boop. Gracias. Hey everyone, sorry for speaking in English. I hope you're going to enjoy this short panel, cool sort of conversation on the state and current impact of the market. I came here from Slovakia, and it's been year over year, and a lot of change happened on Bitcoin protocol. We'll start with a short introduction on what ordinals are and what is their current impact on the fee market, why your transactions are so expensive, and you can probably boo me out if you don't like something, but ultimately we'll try to strawman this. So I use Bitcoin ordinals, you can use it too, it's permissionless protocol, but there are things that might be annoying, that you might dislike, that you might not feel positive about. So if you're not happy, feel free to boo this out, because it's a permissionless network. You're free to do whatever you want, and you can boo me out too, so life is good. Let's try to press this button. So in a way, short introduction is that people in the world collect whatever you want to collect. People like physical stuff, people like banknotes. They like banknotes because of a specific year they were made. Executive auction 6102. But for that case, we also created this informative system. Someone might like a specific Satoshi from a year when their kid was born. And it's nothing new. In 2013, it was proposed, so we are recreating the system. But this time, it might be more fun because people are more receptive to fun. They were really bored 2 years ago, so that changed. And we are essentially tracking Satoshis. Doesn't break any consensus because it's first in, first out. And they have some different forms of rarity. But you can look at Satoshis as a form of your own creation. As I said, your kid has been born in the year 2012. You want that Satoshi as a commemorative function. So numismatism is nicely sort of sold market. And as I said before, people like to connect everything. So if you like to collect things, Satoshi might be nice to own. And some of them might be special to you, some of them might be special to someone else. So the question is, why shouldn't we have a market force that gives a certain value to one UTXO and Satoshis in the UTXO over to the other? Please bear in mind that this is all fake. Like, it's a social phenomenon. Like, whatever I'm talking to you about is just random agreement we have in a social framework. So every statement that will follow this conversation is essentially created because we as humans, as social beings, believe that this is true. It happened before, in a way. If you take a look at Satoshi, he was putting graffiti into the mind block, and there's Len Sassaman, much respect, Satoshi Part 2. And there is our friend Luke Dash Jr. and his beautiful Catholic statements that were deeply ingrained in your Bitcoin node. So, yeah. How many of you are actually running Bitcoin? Can you please raise the hand who is running Bitcoin? Great, great. We need to run more nodes. I think by the end of this talk, I hope I'm going to motivate you all run a node, so each of you has this beautiful, wonderful Catholic statement from Luke Dash Jr. That Satoshis we are talking about, this social dissonance, the social construct we have. So we are assigning some data to that social dissonance. So the Satoshi, when your kid was born, you can actually attach TypeScript data, file a path to it, and easily ingrain the picture of a toy that your kids liked in the very future. So ultimately, these are ordinals, and this is how they look in your favorite blog explorer. If you run your node, I think you can see it in some denominations, some easy fun. What I wonder about is that Satoshi, in some ways, probably was against. There's a lot of people that is against this, but he kind of claimed that messaging would be stupid on Bitcoin, and I have to agree, messaging would be stupid. Even ordinals are stupid, they're absolutely retarded, but the inscriptions, using that space for whatever you want, I mean, it's permissionless network. I mean, you don't have to be happy with me, with what I do with my fees. Like, it's me spending money to you if you are mining, and Satoshi would probably roll from laughing on us doing what we are doing in a way, but I'm not sure if he would like to stop it. He wouldn't like to see it, but the fee market and the protection of the network it gives is a nice aspect on how this actually works. Ultimately, he said messages shouldn't be transparent. So here you can find an inscription, and yeah, I'm 7 minutes in, and you can claim some free Bitcoin. So if you are here with your device and you scan this QR code, it's going to lead you to this game, which is an inscription itself, and there is some Bitcoin locked in. So if you want free Bitcoin, it's right here in front of you in this QR code. 3, 2, 1, free Bitcoin is disappearing. There are some cool things, though, in the chain, and that's open source libraries. So over the last 2 years, a handful of people spent their money to put these resources into Bitcoin that you can use for creating complicated HTML schemes. And those schemes could be actual legal contracts, and contracts that you connect to and establish certain network states. A lot of people speak about network states. So you can use the HTML code here to actually create a network state inside of this taproot spend paths and leverage it to different potential use cases, be it creation of corporations, cooperatives, social strategies, anything that... You see, I wanted to mention one thing. Being an ordinals person is kind of a hate from the Bitcoiners side. Oh, you're a shitcoiner because you're using Bitcoin we don't like. But it's also hate from the shitcoiners because you're using Bitcoin because we don't like it. We are eating a lunch. So ultimately, we don't need many of these concepts that they call themselves alt assets or secondary layers or layers natively if Bitcoin is not used. Like, I don't know who in this room is actually using Bitcoin. I think everyone's just hanging out and drinking coffee. But what our ordinals changing is that the Bitcoin chain is heavily used, and you can see with the market force. And that market force is not only showcased in the mempool, but in the growth in the size. It's not that terrible. I mean, I can imagine why Pierre Rochard is annoyed, because like there is a clearly 5% sort of uptick compared to what was before. It's not terrible, it's not best. I suppose improving our way on how to work with the chain bloat is appropriate, but I don't think there is a way out, the reason to kill someone for. But this might be. Like, your coffee is not going to be sort of more affordable. Luckily, Lightning works. Lightning does work. I think a lot of ordinals people are being mean to Lightning, but Lightning is a very successful technology. I love to see Lightning in Wild West, and I use it. It's a great tool that prevents us struggling. But from market perspective, what we observed over the last 2 years that Ordinals is sort of a last bidder. The last person who is going to get your chain space is that transaction that is going to commit to the picture of a favorite toy of your baby to a Satoshi that they like because it was created in that time. And it's not going to go away. These people are able to get some decent return on how they leverage the space. It's just now about us figuring out ways how to preserve it better, how to optimize better, how to be more thoughtful. But as you've seen before, with the recursive elements, there are some inscriptions that are 0 bytes now, and those inscriptions contain sound, then contain visual HTML context, and they can be connected together to create a complex audiovisual artistic schemes. I haven't mentioned before, but my main background is in art, and we do exhibition collections and support artists to create. And it's pretty insane to see that you can put art on Bitcoin of 0 byte size because of all the previous element it has. So this, what you see, might be changing, but I think that there is a bet between Matodel and RTBand that the sats won't go to 1. I think I concur that we will never see 1 sat per V-byte ever, and because it's going to be the Ordinals people bidding it. What was also fascinating to see that the weight of the block itself is literally filled to the maxima. So when you can see in 2023 when the Ordinals were released, since that moment, we've been extremely effective. Yes, maybe we need to decrease the block size, propose it. But what is fascinating is that before it was extremely volatile to see how the space is leveraged, but now everyone, and you should too, not only just improve running your nodes, but optimize the transaction efficiency to make sure that you can actually fill the weight of the unit and yeah, enjoy the sweet block space. Oh, sorry. 7,000 Bitcoin spent in fees, 70,000 inscriptions, most of that absolute bullshit. So people try to create tokens. I don't understand why they want to create tokens, why everyone is so obsessed with tokens. In a way, it's probably a funny way how to remodel the economy, but Bitcoin works just fine. And if you need, you know, layer on top, there is eCash, and we can pay everyone in eCash, and it's going to be private, it's going to be wonderful, and leverages Lightning. But maybe you really want to build that company via the HTML inscription that has a certain rune to it. And runes, as a form of return by itself, actually led to compression of the UTXO set. It's not the blockchain bloat that was, I think, annoying most of the people, but it's the UTXO set growth. And we can see when the Ordinal started up to the halving block that the UTXO set was growing tremendously. And it's mostly the taproot public keys spends, and they are filled with 600 sats in value UTXO, so essentially even not necessarily spendable transactions. And I think Voxwing told me yesterday that 70% of taproot spend paths are filled with less than 1,000 sats. So they are bloat. I agree, they are bloat, but they contain information that is valuable to someone who agrees to this social phenomena which the Ordinals protocol is. So either you join or you try to oppose it, and to oppose it you actually have to run nodes. You have to run more nodes, because these people, Ordinals people, run their nodes. Many of them do run their systems, and I think they want to change Bitcoin. They want to change Bitcoin in a way you don't want to see. And be it the covenants proposal that you've never agreed to, or covenant proposals that you haven't studied, or things that were removed by Satoshi Opcat. So ultimately, it's you are the powerful person here who is going to run the protocol and start hashing too. But let me go back for a bit. So we see that less than, essentially a little bit over half of the transactions are actually monetary transactions. And now where the Ordinals probably remain in a similar share, the decrease is significant in this BRC20 JSON nonsense. I don't think it was probably a fad anyway. But the runes have taken over significantly, and to this day, every single block that you see is over 50% filled with this rune thing. Like, what is rune? It's an equity on Bitcoin, it's a social capital on Bitcoin, it's a claim. It's mostly memetics. It's absolutely retarded. The fact is, it allows you to create form of a commodity if you socially agree, again, that there is some value in this UTXO outside of the SAT value, and we can rebuild some form of structures with that, or improve some inefficiencies. And yes, sure, your layer 2 will be appropriate for that, and your zero knowledge technology will be appropriate for this, and we will be having the scaling across multi-chain. None of that will be ever needed if there is actually no demand on the block space, and if there is no demand on the block space, what are we all doing? What are we all doing here, essentially? Return, heavily leveraged. You can see Memento Mori was a recent mint, and it's a very, very fascinating mechanic that happened here, because not only we are seeing private companies building their independent mempools and their sort of prioritization systems. What you see on the left side is a non-standard transaction that would never be mined, but it led to the distribution of this Memento Mori rune we see here across at least 10,000 different addresses in one transaction. So it had to be mined via dedicated miner, which is Marathon in this case. And to bid on it, you can see that here in the block 186, the bidding started for the public sale of this. And you see 700 sats per virtual byte to almost 1,000 virtual sats per VByte just to get some form of mimetic concept. Like, I don't understand why, but it's free market, and it's a free market in a way that you can participate in it. Why would you not mine? Why would you not? Pingu is joining us too, so come Pingu, you can mine it too. Mine and hash yourself and run more nodes, because as we said, the changes are coming and you should participate in the consensus to decide upon what the change will be. Segwit was fun. Moving from this, we are seeing new market dynamics happening, not only in the way that you use the space, but you can bet on the space via some form of option strategies where you can trade transaction fees. So we are building derivative structures on the most scarcest resource in the world, and that's digital space in Bitcoin. I said before, you can decrease it, the proposed decrease of it. Or they are creating a second rune on a rune that has been minted to return your fees. To be honest, I have no clue what has happened there at all, but ultimately you can claim the second rune and burn it to receive fees back if you spend more money than you were expecting. So a form of an option via return rune contract here. I still have to spend more time evaluating this, but as I'm trying to say is that block space is not only scarce, it's the most optimized vector, but now we are building the option strategies and hash rate functionalities inside the market, and there is a demand for this market. 50 Bitcoin spent on fees. That's not small money, and it's just a mimetic concept. So where is this all going? Respect Jeremy Rubin, he was probably too early with the proof of work swap contracts, but actually LUXOR, I think guys are around here, they are catching this trend and vibe and try to build positions. So not only we are able, or large businesses are able to hedge their positions, but they can go long and short network activity. So we are finding a way how to build novel market structures natively inside the consensus protocol. And that's pretty fascinating. There is some value that could be claimed and played with. Overall, there are some people who dislike that and decided to create their own strategy how to go around it. So they are creating datum. We are talking specifically about ocean mining here, but specifically on the right is a miner called Just for Steve. Much respect. It looks like a wonderful block. But you lost 8% on transaction fees, poor dude. I'm not sure if it's going to be... The question is for all of you, if you are mining and you are using ocean, are you willing to lose 10% on average single mine block? For how long? Are you going to print your cash to get out of that, or play it as long as possible until no one is using Ordinals? Maybe. But what we are seeing is actually every single chain outside of Bitcoin is capitulating. 60% market dominance, and they are all coming to test these new experimental bullshit that Ordinals brought into the market space. So the more you are going to try and participate, I mean, congratulations, Ocean. I think today they had the record hash rate from all, so people are committed to that. I'm not sure if they are realizing that there is an average of 10% fee loss, but good for them anyway. Still, I believe there is something to learn from, and not only Ordinals people are finding it interesting, they're actually learning this. And okay, I sort of go slightly around it. There are some different ways how to improve the hash rate because the biggest problem of Bitcoin currently is the miner centralization. And I'm not sure Ordinals how dynamic they play in this whole environment, but it's 3 Asian pools leading the way. I mean, this is kind of suspicious. But there are some proposals, some sound proposals, and I am supportive of Ocean. I think Ocean is a great technology, or the pool, or the datum pool, despite it's not decentralized as they claim, and it's very uncertain why they didn't use Stratum v2. It's a good progress to see. Decentralize the hash, run your nodes, participate in the network, become the network. And you can use the small device too. Like, By the way, I haven't accepted any monetary fee of any of these brands you see here. I'm using most of their products. They are just genius, and I think very successful in what they do. Brains is a great contender. You can run your heater, maybe not here, but down south Argentina, it's cold as fuck. Maybe you can set up a good mining, heating operation of your house. But this lottery is also fine. I run a bunch of them. Like, why wouldn't you bet with every single block that you can win 3+ BTC with this tiny, wonderful open source machine? Yeah, you can get this. It's $150. Probably expensive for some, but ultimately it's a great gambling you can play with compared to longing and shorting the trade derivatives. Anyway, not only Ocean and people outside of this space are learning the ways and hacks and surrounding, it's Ordinals people too. Like, you're looking at, okay, it's just 300 terahashes. It's not even a month old. This is a pool run by Ordinals people. So, okay, we ate your lunch. We sort of made you all angry that we are using the protocol as we want, it's non-standard, standard. So now you created a company that wonderfully creates block templates, is decentralized, and it's just gonna be the holy savior of the censorship-free Bitcoin ecosystem. So yeah, Ordinals people are doing it too. And what you gonna do again? It's wonderful that the fee market is there for you to take. And they are running it, okay, experimental bid access, there is 60 people. But 60 people is 60 people, and tomorrow it could be 600 people, and suddenly you have a block mined solely with an Ordinals company. I think that's gonna be weird, and a lot of people are gonna get triggered. I'm ready for that. Wrapping this all up, so we moved from brief explanation, Ordinals runes, and the hash rate differences to now what you can do, because there was 10 hands from 100 people here. You shall consider running a node now and choose consensus rules, 21 million matters, transaction ordering matters. Are you gonna go with the standardness rules? Essentially, this social phenomenon is using non-standard transactions. Are you gonna mine the non-standard transactions or validate non-standard transactions? You don't have to. You can close your relay, you can make sure that no transaction information is flowing across your relay, and you can be happy in your own ecosystem. You can run knots, again, props to Luke Dash. There are some other core, Bitcoin core mostly run, but also Libit Bitcoin that you can actually sort of do initial block download in a day. You have optionality. Just try and run the system, set your own configuration, set your own rules, and tell the network you don't want Ordinals. It's all fine, we are happy. On the other hand, there is nothing really wrong done to the consensus. So if you wanna oppose the consensus rules, I think that's gonna be tougher. I think it's gonna be tougher, but you are free to propose the change, as we said. Propose the block size decrease. Propose the removal of TypeScript discount. I would actually support this. Whew. That was the idea that I would happily propose if any of you actually proposes the removal of discount, but then it puts the Lightning Network channel opens into jeopardy. So what do you want? Do you want the removal of the spam, or you want some form of acceptance, social acceptance that is actually in line with the game theory, the Nashian theories and Nashian equilibriums that Satoshi proposed? I don't really know what's the way. I just really want to make sure that you run it or actually remain silent, because the flame wars on the internet are not going to lead us anywhere, into any form of salvation. So thank you for your time. As I said, I'm trying to do more art on chain. You don't have to. Again, if you run your node, you're going to have my art on it forever and ever. I don't think you're going to remove any of that data. And just to make you all calm for a bit, Ordinals are not going to be probably there forever. If you're going to use the chain and if you're going to scale the chain, they're going to have to go away to higher layers. And I don't think the scams that people are seeing in the room, the quote-unquote artist scams in the room with us, going to have endless money. I don't think the endless money is there to actually use the fees to sort of balance it out. But yes, it's social phenomenon. Ordinals here for 2 years. not decreasing on activity, quite the opposite. However, if you want to stop it, do it. Propose. I will support anything rational that actually removes positive market forces, be it the discount, be it the blockchain size, sort of a conversation. I don't think there is a reason for us to lose the beauty of Bitcoin because of some big buts and JPEGs. So thank you very much for your time.